Okay, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in again. Now, just to recap what LoansElevated is all about. My goal is to help people create more wealth through homeownership. And how do I do that? Well, in my mind, how I do that is empower with information and address myths and ideas that surround my business, and hopefully debunk broken ideas that are holding many people back from entering homeownership, which is literally the first step to creating wealth through homeownership. So today's episode is buying more risky than renting? And this could be a different question for many people. You know, there's people that are more transient. You know, say they move into a Salt Lake, for example, and maybe they're military, and they know they're not going to be here long. They're only on orders for a couple of years, or they're moving in for a construction project that's only going to be a couple of years. Those people might consider renting less risky than buying a home because of the short timeline of them expecting to be in the area. This could apply to a bunch of other people too. Maybe there's people that live in Utah or live wherever you live long-term, but you still think buying is such a long-term, scary, big commitment and very risky. In my opinion, and honestly, this is only my opinion, but I hope it enlightens you to some different paradigms in the way you think about homeownership. So let's think about renting. That's the first thing here. So you rent. You have literally zero control of what you pay outside of the lease that you've signed. That lease is maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months, maybe you're month to month, and the landlord could literally increase your housing expense on a dime. It could happen, or at the end of your lease, they could increase the housing expense. I see this happening. Many of my clients are becoming homeowners because this is happening, and not at a slow pace. We're talking like increasing the lease rate by 20% after their lease expires. Most families can't afford an unexpected 20% increase in housing expense. That is highly risky. And remember, that's when you rent. The other thing is these landlords, some rental contracts actually give the landlord the ability to kick you out midstream through your rental contract with just 30 days notice. But say it doesn't have that. When your lease comes due, is the landlord gonna say, hey, I'm selling this home. Sorry, you've gotta find a new place. Now what do? Not only are rents going up, but can you, beyond that, we have a housing shortage, an immense housing shortage. Can you even find a new rental property or a new home in your kid's school district that's near school? That's a huge one. With gas prices going through the roof, how does it change your commute? And with the prices of rent going up, do you need to now go further away, which is even more impacting your commute, more impacting your gas prices? So not only are you paying more to rent, you may need to commute more and pay a lot more in gas, and you may need to displace your kids from their friends, all these things. Like, there is literally no control. Now beyond that, renting, you can't change the home. This is not your home. You don't have control of it. So this is not really a risk-related topic, but something more of a sense of permanence for you and your family, and being able to call something your own. That kind of dovetails us into buying. So the reality is, you buy a home, you get into a mortgage that you know you can afford because you know what the mortgage payments are before you buy your home, and that mortgage payment is fixed for 30 years. That payment cannot go up, with the exception of small little increases to property taxes or homeowners insurance or something like that. Very minimal, not nearly as much as the rent rates could go up. We're talking 20% in 1 year. That does not normally happen. I've been in this industry 13 years. What I see is very, very nominal. I've even seen those rates go down at times, depending on what home values are doing. So buying, you have absolute control of the property and your destiny. You move when you want to move, not when the landlord tells you to move. You have a fixed payment. It's fixed for 30 years or whatever your loan term is. You have a fixed payment that's guaranteed, so you don't have shocks to the budget. Besides that, let's actually talk about that. Say you are a person that is expecting a potential need to move in the short term, a couple of years, maybe even a year, and so you're hesitating on buying. Well, the reality is if you end up having to move, you can theoretically sell that home that you just bought. Again, like I said, ultimate control. You have the control of how you dispose of this property. You could sell it as soon as you have to move if the market has worked in your favor. Right now, the market's definitely working in our favor. We see massive appreciation. Why would you not want to buy a home, live in it for 2 years, and let's just say a $400,000 home with 10% appreciation per year, $40,000 per year. 2 years down the road, you have $80,000 in equity. So you live in that home for the 2 years you're gonna be here. You cash out and pull 80 grand. That's probably more than you spent on the mortgage payment. So you essentially lived for free. But let's say an example where the home values are not working in your favor. Say the home values go down, which is not at all expected, but just say they do as example. You have the ability to rent that property out so you can become the landlord. You can still retain the control, and then you move to wherever you have to move. Perhaps you do it again. Because in another episode, I kind of taught you it was house hacking. You have the ability to own a home and buy another home and use the rental income from the home that you are moving out of to qualify. So it doesn't, distract you from your ability to buy another home, maybe in, as you move back home or some more permanent location. So I think the control of your destiny, the control of your finances, that makes buying way, way, way less risky than renting. Even though it feels like a commitment, you are in control. And once you understand that, I think, it's a big paradigm shift and something pretty simple, but it makes a lot of sense to me. Now, beyond that, I talked about the lifestyle component of renting. You can't make it your own. This home, you can make your own. If you've got kids, you can paint their room their special color. You can build something in the backyard. You can dig up the backyard and build them a little go-kart track, whatever the case is, right? You can make it your own. You can really buy into this place that you live in. That's such an important thing as it relates to a home. Now, beyond that is, and I've already touched on it, but it's the wealth that you can create through homeownership. Renting, you literally pay a landlord a payment every month. It is gone forever. They're never gonna share any equity with you. They're never gonna return any of your rent payments. You're never gonna get any money back. On a home, you are going to make, from what I see in my clients, it is the single biggest source of wealth creation because of appreciation, and not to mention amortization. Every time you make that payment, you're paying that mortgage down a little by little. So it's like a forced savings account. You're continually building the equity with the money you pay. But beyond that, depending on what the market's doing, you can be creating significant, we're talking tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of net worth, bottom line to you and your family. And that is meaningful for your future. It literally could be the difference of your retirement or not. Homeownership could be that difference. So anyway, I think it's pretty clear. My bet is that buying is way less risky than renting. And if you want to understand what your options are, if this inspired you to take action and say, man, I should stop renting because of what Broch said, I hope that's what anyway you're thinking, please call me and my team. We would love to help you understand your options and get you on the path to homeownership. Thanks for tuning in. Please share this if you can. If you found value in this, I would love if you shared this episode. Thank you so much.